Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's DGTCC for Event 7 from the YAMAGIWA circuit. This is going to be the Event 7 of 9, so there's going to be a sprint race here, a feature race here, and then we're on to Event 8 and Event 9, and the championship fight is still well and truly on. For Event 7 though, as I mentioned, we've got a sprint race, 10 minutes, that will set the grid for the feature race, which will be 25 minutes long. Let's have a quick look at the current championship standings. Twilight leading the way on 186 points, so it's 22 ahead of Dave the Harp in second place. Steve F1 and SGP tied for third on 150 points. And then we've got Demon R on 141, and a few back is Mitch in 6th on 132. Bit of a gap to Conrad in 7th place on 102 points, with SRI on 100 in 8th place, Rich Blues in 9th on 83 points, and then we've got Art Powell on 75, Hay on 72, Jason on 65, Jimmy on 62, Gary on 46, Bunsen on 16, and then we've got the zeros. Unfortunately, quite a few of the drivers were unable to make the event here today, with sort of holidays and different things like that. So unfortunately, the rule of 10 was put into place, which means that the race should be postponed. However, because there's 9 drivers, there'll be a vote as to whether the race goes ahead, and it was unanimous that the race would go ahead. So Gary misses out on taking pole position. That's what you get for going tenting. So Steve F1 and Conrad will start on the front row of the grid. SGP and Demon R will start on row 2. On row 3 will be David Harp and Twilight. Row 4 it's Art Powell and Rich Blues, and then on row 5 we've got Bunsel all on his own. But good to see Bunsel back with us. As I mentioned, a few drivers missing, so great opportunity for everybody that's able to race to bag plenty of points and also to get that 8th place reverse grid pole in the feature race. That's enough waffle from me for the moment. Let's hand over to the commentators. Joining me on commentary, it's Raymond. How are you, Ray?
I'm not too bad. How's yourself been?
I'm absolutely terrible, but ready for YAMAGIWA. Hopefully the drivers are ready for YAMAGIWA as well. Unfortunately, we've got a few missing, Ray, but it's not going to detract from the action. I'm pretty certain about that. Steve F1's on pole position though, because Gary couldn't make it, and away they go as the lights have gone out. And Steve F1's got a decent start for a moment. Then I thought he was doing a Hamilton and having a start all on his own.
Yeah, where's the safety car? It's not there. There was that Conrad on the grass there, got a wee bit dirty. He's put them 3 wide. He's
getting ready to know. SGP and Demon R going side by side into the S's initially. YAMAGIWA is an interesting circuit, especially for these cars, as David Hart making a move on Demon R. Twilight in the background trying to make a move on Conrad, but can't quite do it. This long left-hander is an interesting corner, Ray, because we may see people going in too quick and coming out too wide.
Yeah, and especially this track, it's quite slippery. As we say. Oh, Twilight just giving a wee bit of a kiss to Conrad there through the chicane.
And he is. They managed to survive on this occasion. But yeah, I was mentioning as well that formerly Gary, this was his opportunity of having pole position from the reverse grid pole at the previous feature race, but was not able to make the race, unfortunately. So misses out on that pole position. Conrad sideways. Oh no, he's on the gassing bar. He's gone. Oh, Steve F1's wobbling. Where's he? It's not the WWW yet, Steve.
I think he's a few weeks ahead.
I think he might. You know what it is? He's not used to being
never been
front pole. Okay.
Paul he's had is a Polish friend.
I'm saying nothing. Other than he bought 6 bolts, 3 for the floor and 3 for the ceiling. I was going to say Art Powell on the inside of Rich Blues here.
Some WD-40 make it something.
It'd make it squeak, I reckon. It'd only be slippery for a little while, then afterwards it'd be like, you know what, I was going to say a squeaky pole, but I think we need to change conversation.
Twilight having a wee moment there, a wee bit of contact, but they're all kept going. There's Artpal trying to make the move on Rich.
He's having a look. Is he going to make? He can't, yeah. It's one of the things, if you have a look on the way in at this corner, it's so easy to end up running wide, so you have to be so careful. Let's not forget as well, folks, that this sprint race, 10-minute sprint race, sets the grid for the feature race, which will be coming up in a little while, as Conrad having a look up the inside of a couple of cars, but sideways he goes. Oh no, collects Twilight. Just tagged, I was going to say just tagged Conrad, but he is Conrad. I think he tagged Artpal, sorry, and collected Rich Blues. That frees up the front three quite nicely. Dave Yarp will be happy about that.
Yeah, he sure will. Add more points to him in the championship fight.
That it will. I mean, I think it was what? So I think it was about 21 points between Dave Yarp and Twilight heading into. Oh, SGP haven't gone for the lead. No, he's not going to do it. But yeah, I think 21 points was the gap between them before this event.
Well, he's going to add more points on here. Twilight's down in 8th, but remember, 8th. No, it doesn't reverse it.
Well, interesting. I'll tell you a story about that in a bit. Okay, SGP got very close to the back of Steve F1. Didn't have a go at making the move on the way into turn 1. Now they've got the uphill S's. Not quite flat out in the Maserati. Well, it is if you got clear air, but if you get slightly offline like SGP did, then you get all over the curb and end up close to the wall. So, yeah, the driver's going to have to be very careful. I don't think Dave Yarp will be going flat out through the S's either. Not in that Corvette as he's wide. I don't know if he's managed to keep it on the road.
Is he doing that wide, trying his way down and then squaring off the curve so that you can get down the power early, because we know that Corvette's going to struggle in the corners.
Oh, Steve F1 is wobbling, and yeah, he's taken that dirty line again. You know what, I think he's actually backed off a bit to not gain any advantage, and it results in SGP taking the position. Dave the Harp all over the back of him now as well as he goes defensive. I was going to say, you could be right there, Ray, about Dave the Harp, or he could have just been completely out of control. Bugsall back with us. Nice to see him on the track again, although it does look like he's pretending to be Jason with a couple of zebra stripes on his roof. But it is good to see him back at the track, although he is currently sideways through the chicane as Dave the Harp closing in on the back of Steve F1.
Yeah, the SGP just pulling a wee bit of gap. Dave the Harp's got the slipstream, he's getting closer. Is he going to get it maybe done into turn 1 here? He's looking, is he going for it?
No, he was definitely looking, wasn't he? But he's decided to back out of it at the last moment, and I think that's probably a wise thing to do. Oh, Bunsell, he's not going to be able to back out of that. Yeah, he may still spin on him as well. No, he's managed to survive, so he keeps going. So yeah, Dave Harp now all over the back of Steve F1. Yeah, I don't think into corners is the best place for Dave to try and overtake. I think it's out of corners. So yeah, he can kind of afford to play a little bit of a patient game here, given that, okay, Twilight's only a couple of positions behind him, but on track he's quite far behind him.
Yep, and he's going for it in chicane here. He's going to get it done.
It looks like he is. Nice move. Now, you may think I just said don't do it into a corner. He was ahead before the corner, so I was technically still correct.
Okay, we'll let you away with it.
Yeah. What we've got here then, Twilight trying to make moves on the back of Demon R. Conrad trying to recover it as well. I mean, interestingly, Ray, you might not know, but in the practice, Twilight was definitely not feeling as confident around this track as he has done the other ones. Whereas Dave the Harp was feeling a bit more confident around. Oh, Demon R's big time sideways over the curb. He's kept it facing the right direction, but I think Twilight will be ahead, or no, side by side to go into the final corner. Conrad close as well. Alright.
Just seeing Rich Blues as if I don't want to be on that side, the pixel.
Yep. Oh, Demon R's going up, trying to get up the inside. But I think interestingly as well there, Twilight was on the pit lane side as well, and if it had been a random race, he may have ended up in the pits as well as Ridge Blues would have done. Or Conrad making the move on Demon R as well, and he's got ahead. Nice move there. Oh, big hit into the wall from Bunsell. So Demon R having a look then on the back of Conrad now. So we've only got a couple more minutes to go in this sprint race. As Demon R couldn't really get much closer to the back of Conrad's car. Oh, I know he's wobbling all over the place though. Now he can get closer. To be fair though, got to say that Rich and our pal doing well at the moment to keep right on the tail of these guys. Oh, Conrad got a bit sideways. Not a lot Demon R could do about that. Rich Blues might actually make a move here.
Yeah, is our pal going to fall? Let's see, just wait and see who's getting the lead and then try and use his. Oh, he's went in tight. Is he going to come out ahead of Demon R?
I'm not sure, you know. Ooh, it got close there. And now having a cheeky look at the inside of Rich Blues as well. Couldn't quite get it done. Conrad sliding. So yeah, interesting battle going on at the back. I think Demon R's just got himself all out of shape because he's just been passed by Art Power and Bunsell. So yeah, perhaps a sloppy end to the lap for Demon R there. Up at the front, SGP leading the way, got a bit of a gap still over Dave the Heart. Dave can't quite seem to close that gap in at the moment. Steve F1 still sitting in third, and then we've got a gap to this battle here. Oh, Conrad's running wide. Is he going to be able to bring it back in?
I think Art Pal's going to get him here down into the nice bends.
Oh, it's going to be close. Well, they're definitely not going to be able to be flat out now. They're going to have to have lifted off a little bit. Careful of the curb. Oh, this is going to close them all up from behind. Rich Blues has got past the both of them. Got past Art Pal. Demon R's making the move past Art Pal as well. Up the inside. Oh no, he's tagged the back of Rich Blues and into the barrier he goes. That's a right rookie move there from the pink machine.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he would do that.
Yeah.
7 times, 8 times?
Six times. Art Pal up the inside of Rich Blues, side by side to go. Conrad struggling with the chicane though. I mean, it's fair to say as well, Ray, that chicane is probably one of the most difficult corners on this particular track. Quite a few drivers we've seen in the past struggle with that particular chicane. The other one is the one coming up now. It's very easy to end up just sliding a little bit wide and ending up in the barrier, especially if you're in a bit of a fight. Oh, hang on a minute, Ray, this is the last lap. Just to let you know. Yeah. Oh yeah. So SGP's going to time it nicely to come around the line. That sounds really wrong. Come around the final corner. So not only did I say it wrong, it sounded wrong. But he's going to take the win in the sprint race. David Arp second. Steve F1 third. Twilight's going to be fourth, is he? Looks like it is. With Conrad and Art Pal battling for fifth. Rich Blues seventh. Bunsell eighth, and Demon R ninth. Well, an interesting sprint race there, Ray.
Yeah, it was. Very interesting. It was some sliding about and it was costing people time. So maybe in the second race they're realising that and they might try and keep it from sliding, but
quite possibly. I mean, it is the nature of the track. We mentioned it before that with it being sort of quite high speed and many changes of direction, especially in the S's. Up the hill, the chicanes, it is very easy. What I will say is, though, it looked like we had some really good racing in that. There wasn't really any. I mean, there was a couple of crashes, but it wasn't like anyone was taking anybody out. I just want to quickly, if I can, get your thoughts, Ray, on the unfortunate situation where we've ended up with 7 drivers unable to race in this event, and what you think might be the cause of that.
Sometimes it's going to happen. We're not going to get everybody every week. We are in kind of like some drivers have got kids, so we are in the summer holiday from schools, and it's the summertime, hotter weather and that, so people might be going away for a bit. So yeah, 7 of us. Honestly, I was one of them, but That's a different story, SGP.
Yep.
And I think the rule is there's got to be 75% of drivers.
Well, I think the way it's done, isn't it, is 10 is the minimum number we'll race with. However, if there's 9, then the drivers on the day get to have a vote, so to speak, of whether the race goes ahead, but it has to be a unanimous vote. So if any of the drivers had said, no, I think we should postpone it, then that's exactly what would have happened. If it had been 8 drivers, there would have been no vote. It would have been, it'll be postponed until the next week. Also, just so for anyone knows or anyone wonders, whether those who can't make the race get to have a choice of whether it gets postponed or not, the answer is no, they fucking don't. Because that would be really taking the piss. But
that
yeah,
means you can have a group of people saying they're not going to race.
Yeah.
You don't race, and then that means they can't race. Where if people are say as the 9 drivers, then they get the vote.
Yeah, exactly.
They've turned on.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, sometimes it happens. You get I think 3 of the drivers sort of things happened on the day that led to them not being able to make the race, and sometimes that does just happen. There's not like you can really do about it. I mean, has it detracted from the action on the track? No. Would we have seen more action? Well, we probably wouldn't have. Well, I was going to say we wouldn't have seen more action, but there may have been more action that we didn't see, because we can only see what the camera shows. Yeah, that is true. Okay, so let's confirm that sprint race result anyway. So SGP takes the victory, and in practice, he was the fastest driver around this particular track. So with him winning that and starting on pole for the next race, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Dave the Arp 2nd, Steve F1 3rd, Twilight 4th, so Dave the Arp's reeled in a couple of points on him there. Conrad finished in 5th, Art Pal 6th, Rich Blues 7th, Bunsel 8th, and Demon R 9th. And I am being told that apparently Demon R, when coming around the final corner, was jumping for joy that he was battling for reverse grid pole, until he realised that that's for the results of the next race. Okay, so confirm the grid then. So, I mean, it's obvious what the grid is, but still confirm it anyway, because if somebody had been able to join between the 2 races, they'd have been on the grid. So the grid is as follows: SGP David Harp on row 1, Steve F1 and Twilight row 2, Conrad and Art Pal row 3, Rich Blues and Bunsel row 4, and Demon R row 5. All on his own. Last he is. Okay. Give us a second and we shall crack on with the feature race. So here we go then for the feature race. SGP on pole position, David Harp with a decent chance here of attacking him into turn 1 as we await for the lights to go out. And away they go, and it looks like a decent start for SGP, but we can't see anybody else. Actually, Steve F1's got a decent start there, around the outside of David Harp.
Yeah, traction control.
What was that? 3-time champion traction control. I'll tell you what, Conrad's got a decent run on the back of Steve F1 here. Dave, I do know, has been working on the starts. I mentioned last week, Steve F1's having a wobble. He's a bit out of shape. Conrad's taking evasive. A little bit of contact between the two, and into the wall. Steve goes into the wall again. Collects Demon R, who collects Rich Blues. I think Harpal's been tagged in that as well. I was going to say Jason survived it, but he's not here. It was Bunsel.
Yeah, that's a wee bit off putting with the green livery, like Jason Brooks, Bunsel.
Yeah.
As we see, Conrad trying to catch up on Dave the Harp as Steve get past the pack here. So he's on the back of Bunsel, he lift tap there. And what Bunsel says, Robin's racing.
I thought it was rubbing means you owed me money. Steve F1 has managed to steal a couple of places through the hairpin though. Twilight on the back of Conrad. So this is pretty good for Twilight at the moment. You can see where Dave the Harp is, and Dave the Harp's on the grass. Is he going to keep it going straight? He is. He may even keep hold of the position. You're going to have to be careful of dirty tyres, though. But I did mention in the sprint race that we will see drivers off in those corners. It's just... Oh, where's Rich going?
Oh, as we see Conrad, Twilight, he's ahead of Dave the Harp now, but Dave the Harp was inside line to the corner.
Well, Dave had the dirty tyres, didn't he, into the final corner, so hopefully you can get him cleaned off a little bit. He's managed to stay ahead of Twilight. Steve F1's right on the back of Twilight now as well, but maybe could going through these corners a little more cautiously than the previous lap. At least I hope so, because he just wiped everybody out.
Yeah. It looks like you can't get on back of Twilight there.
Oh, Dave! Oh, round he goes. Some thought.
Steve.
Oh, Twilight's off as well. Demon R's off as well. Demon R's overtaking him off the track. Cheating little. Oh, he's giving them the place back. That's better.
Gave him the place back. As we see Conrad catching up onto SGP.
Conrod's showing some decent pace here. I mean, I mentioned the SGP was the fastest in the practice sessions, which he was, but Conrad is all over the back of him here. There's only one downside, as we know, with Conrad, though, isn't there, Ray? And it's not that he's from Middlesbrough.
I thought he was from Castletown.
From well, I was going to say Newcastle, but he's not from Newcastle. He is actually from Middlesbrough, which is why I keep winding him up about him being a Geordie, because technically he's not a Geordie. And the Middlesbroughans, I really don't know how you'd say that. Like, you know, you've got like Glaswegians. What is a Middlesbroughan or a Middlesbroughan? I've never thought. I'm going to have to find out now. Rich Blues coming under a bit of attack from Bunzel, but holding it all the way around the outside of turn one quite nicely there. I was going to mention as well, actually, Rich, it's going to sound a little bit disrespectful, but Rich in the standings. Oh, Dave, where are you going? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think he may have had to take a little bit of evasive there, but that's caught him out. Dave, he's got 21 minutes to get back into this race, but to be honest, for Dave, his only concern is going to be about Twilight. Rich Blues, don't take this the wrong way, but in the standings is currently best of the rest. And by that, what I mean is, Twilight's leading, Dave Harp's in second. Then you've basically got the champions, and then after that, it's Rich Blues. So,
I better be on the champions.
Well, actually, I think
the best of the rest. Yeah, good.
I'm trying to think. He's ahead of you. I've forgotten.
Probably is.
But this is a fantastic opportunity for Rich to kind of stamp his authority on that position. Oh, STP's wide. Oh, this is an opportunity for Conrad.
SGP's keeping in tight line. Oh, he's going to park it on the apex. He is.
Yeah. Typical FGP. Go on, Connor, put him in the pits. You know, it would have crossed his mind. All those times that SGP's put someone in the pits, and the one time you may get the opportunity to in a league race where you definitely end up getting a ban. But yeah, so Conrad wasn't able to take the place. But yeah, for Rich Blues, this is a brilliant opportunity, because let's not forget, in the DGT league, sometimes what has happened in championships is, for example, something may be selected by a previous championship order. So if this championship was, Conrad making the move down the hill, can't quite get it done. Is he going to go for a switch back? SGP running out wide a bit, but then tucks back in. Conrad hasn't really got anywhere to go. SGP's positioning his car in all the wrong places for Conrad. I don't think.
Trying that one,
yeah, I was about to say Conrad. I don't think he'll have a go into the chicane, and then he ducked out, but didn't have a go. Which is, oh no, he's wobbling. He dipped a wheel. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh no.
There's Twilight. Oh, there's Dave the Harp in Twilight, that battle.
Yeah, so Twilight's actually ended up coming out right at the back. that's massively unfortunate for Twilight. I don't think there was anything that Conrad could have done there, really. I mean, Demon R managed to just miss him. Twilight just clipped him, and he ends up with him off the track. But what that does mean is that the current championship leaders are now nose to tail. Has someone just gone off to the right there? No,
I think so. I think it was Artpal changing his line. Oh, Dave the Hub, giving Rich Blues a wee nudge there. Like, come on, I've got the leader behind me. Come on,
yeah, come on, beat up. So yeah, David Hart making the move on Rich, then Art Power having a look at making a move on Demon R into turn 1. Over the inside he goes. David Hart coming in a bit quick as well. Demon R's managed to do a little bit of a switch back on Art Power as Art Power ran a little bit deep. David wobbling on the curves. You're going to have to be careful there as Twilight now right on the back of Rich Blues, and then managed to just get into the single file for over the hill. Oh, we got puffs of dirt. That means somewhat, yeah, Artpal and Demon R into the barrier. I think they both just got that corner wrong. Artpal's managed to survive better than Demon R, but David Hart now up into 3rd place. I don't think he was expecting that when he was in this position on the previous lap.
No, and Twilight needs to get a move on to reduce the points getting taken away from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, good work from David Hart there.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing Twilight needs is for his... Conrad having a cheeky look up there, but there wasn't really the room. I mean, there was nothing that Twilight could do to give him the space, and there wasn't really a lot Rich could do to know that Conrad had stuck his nose in there, but Conrad has managed to just about get ahead, as Demon R now trying a little bit of a switch back on Rich and Twilight, but can't quite get it done as they head into the second of the tricky little chicanes. Oh, Demon R trying to sneak past Twilight, and a little bit of lag there by the looks of it.
Yeah, and a wee bit of wobble from Demon R, but see Twilight trying to go around the outside of Rich Blues. He's not going to get a switch back, he's too overlapped.
Yeah.
Rich Blues gets a power down a bit earlier.
Also, Rich is in the same car as Twilight, so not much of a speed difference. Pretty much same as that. Artpal and Conrad, both in Aston Martins, headed into turn 1. Rich Blues has got a little bit wide. Demon R's managed to get ahead of Twilight and Rich Blues into 1. Conrad, is he safe? He is just. Demon R has managed to get ahead of Rich and Twilight, which is allowing Bunsell, I keep nearly saying Jason, allowing Bunsell, it's no offence Bunsell, Jason's been here a few times, or Demon R having a look up the inside into the second of the long left-handers, and a bit wobbly.
I like going round the outside as well.
Oh, stuffed into barrier. That's what happens when you try and overtake around the outside. I'm joking, by the way. I'm guessing Artpal did perhaps. Actually, no, I'm hearing Twilight on that one. Demon R was very wobbly. Twilight has said to Artpal, don't worry, keep going, it wasn't your fault. And we talked about that on a previous race, so fair enough. There must have been something else that was happening there that I didn't necessarily see.
Did they try and report him afterwards and say, I kept going?
Maybe.
I never said anything.
Artpal having a look at the inside of Demon R. Always good for a switch back, is he? Oh, Demon R was trying so hard to keep it on the road there. Ended up with a little bit of a tank slapper. So now they're going to be almost side by side. In comes Rich, though, pretty quick, and Twilight. I've got to say, this was quite an interesting battle here. Conrad's trying to open up a little bit of a gap now. David Hart's pulled away from Conrad, and Artpal up the gearbox of Demon R once again. Is he having a look up the inside? Not quite. Twilight, though, is going to try up the inside on this occasion.
Yeah, it's like, I'll push you away. You push me, I'll push you.
Yeah, or we could end up 3 wide here. No, it's 2x2s. Are we going to survive? Oh, Demon R's big sideways. Bunsel's taking evasive. Twilight with their big sideways. Demon R's off. Oh, into the barrier. Takes Rich with him, and a race. He blows. Oh, dear.
Twilight's slowing down.
Twilight
feeling it fall. He's slowing right down.
He really is slowing down, isn't he? I'm wondering if he feels he had a bit of a wobble in the middle of those S's and ended up just tagging Demon R into the wall, which is then collected twice. He's definitely going slow, isn't he? So, I mean, that's massively unfortunate for Twilight there. Rich Blues also, I mean, is innocent victim. Innocent, don't know, victim, yes. You know you're not innocent, Rich. But I'm wondering if Twilight has waited for Rich as well, because if he has, that's going to be potentially quite costly for where, Twilight is waiting for him,
Yeah, he's going around the track a wee bit, so I won't see him drawing the power now. Yep.
Cool.
So this is going to put his championship point, but if he feels he was at fault, then that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, Bunzel making the move on Artpal down into turn 1. Let's see if Bunzel's going to be able to get it slowed down in time. Artpal's gone a little earlier on the brakes, going for the switchback. Bunzel managed to get it slowed down, but it did so with it sideways. Artpal makes the move. Or has it? Yes, he has, just ahead. Oh, Demon! Oh, where's he going? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Maybe he feels sorry for Rich Blues and Twilight, so he's going to go and have a race with them. But yeah, when it comes to...
Well, 12 minutes
12 and a half minutes to go, yeah, so anything could happen. I've got the Lego movie song going. Everything is a turn. We'll have to change it to anything can happen in DGT League.
Don't give up your day job. Stick to that with.
Aston Martin's awesome. This is definitely not an alpha track. Oh god, I've not been cheating on it. Oh god, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That promotes Artpal up to 4th and Bunzel up to 5th. Twilight has managed to get ahead of Rich Blues and Demon R. So Twilight now is on a bit of a charge.
That's boring person.
I don't know. Steve F1 in 2nd place, surprisingly actually. Dave Hart though is in 3rd with a brilliant opportunity to wipe out a load of Twilight's points. And talking about wiping things out, I mean, as I mentioned to you, I've not been feeling too great the last couple of days. But in my boredom, it got me thinking about a few sort of different things. Like for example, race car spelled backwards is race car. Well, coffee spelled backwards is EFOC, and I don't give EFOC until I've had my coffee. I totally set that one up completely wrong, but that proves just how unwell I've been. I'm not with it. Conrad! Oh!
He's pushing, isn't he? He's wanting back up there.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, he's been up there with the pace, so yeah, I can't fault him. I was sort of mentioning as well about Twilight. With him having to wait, I mean, he's caught back up now, which is phenomenal. But with him having to wait, it is one of the 2 most difficult waits to have to do. Oh, Bunzel massively sideways. Conrad making a move around the outside. Twilight's having a look in between the 2 of them. I think he thought better of that. I don't know if that sentence made any sense, but anyway. Bunzel may have just got a bit of a tag there from Demon R. I'm not entirely sure. As Rich Blues just runs a little bit wide through the chicane. But yeah, so the 2 most difficult weights, I think, is when you lead in the race or you're in a battle for the lead and you knock someone off and you have to wait. That's the hardest one, because you're in the lead and you know you've got to give it all up. It's not easy to do. Oh, 3 wide. Oh, Bunzel having a look at the inside. Conrad manages to get it under control and doesn't collect anybody. Twilight's gone a bit slow in, but he'll benefit on the way out. Demon R is having a sneaky look up. Oh, and sneaks past Twilight. It was almost a mirror image of the crash they had a few laps ago.
Yeah, I think Twilight was just hanging there a wee bit, seeing Bunzel's background was sliding out. He just didn't want to get too close.
Yeah, I think you could be absolutely right. Conrad's on a bit of a interesting line there, but manages to keep it on the road quite nicely. And yeah, the other most difficult weight to do is when you're the championship leader, as Twilight is, as he makes the move on Artpal. Can he keep it on the road? Oh, lovely switchback. Oh, Twilight was slow through the corner. He's been mugged by everyone.
Yeah, and he went deep in the first part of the chicane, and that just made it harder for him on the second apex.
Yeah, that he did. Yeah, so the weight when you're the championship leader is because again you are the leader, and having to wait for as long as Twilight did, it's not easy to do and accept. So fair play and respect to Twilight for that one. As it looks like we're going for a lap on board with some boring geezer up at the front there.
Oh yeah, I like do your thing with this boring.
Actually, you know what? I think what it is, I think the cameraman's gone for a shit.
Has it?
I bet that's what he is. Right, the cameraman's thought, you know what, I need to go to the loo, so I'm just going to stick it on board a car while I
hope he was listening to producers.
Well, I'd hope as well, because, I mean, there's just been a big crash on the exit of turn 1, and we've not seen it. I saw the car spinning around on the track, man. We've got a battle for second and third, and then fourth down, but the cameraman is still yet to wipe and swipe, so he's not back with us yet as SGP heads down to the chicane. To be fair, SGP will be happy about this one today, because it's the first time I think he's won a race in this championship, in the sprint race, and he's on course for doing it again here. But we've got another great battle for second and third that we can't see, and still a great battle for fourth, which is Conrad and Twilight. So basically then, David Harper's caught up to the back of Steve F1 heading into the hairpin. If he overtakes him before the cameraman's back, I think someone will be getting fired.
No. Come on, we want to see the battles, we don't want to see this. This is boring.
It is, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because the cameraman's related to the driver as well. I mean, he could have put it on board Dave the Harper, who was hunting down Steve F1, but I don't know. He's back. Okay, it must have just been a piss then, because if it was a shit, it'd have been gone for longer. Okay, Steve F1, is he still holding on to second?
Get to the battle, we want to see that.
There we go.
He's got a bit of a gap. I look closer on the track map before the last corner there.
Yeah, well, I reckon it was really close. But yeah, I mean, dodgy camera work there. Reminds me that I know a guy with a. It don't matter. I'll say it in a bit.
That's the funniest thing you've said all season.
Cheers. Dave York's going for the move, but he's sliding. This is one of the difficulties that Dave's got with that corner. Look, he's trying to give the room, but little twitches compared to the Maserati. I mean, the Corvette's got the power. He'll be ahead of him. No problem down the hill here, or it should be.
He's not.
Oh, Steve just manages to stay ahead, but if Dave gets a good exit here, he'll have a run into the hairpin. But what is happening is the rest of the pack is now closing in on them. Or Dave should have done with the inside, gone for the outside early, and then hard on the brakes. Now go for a switchback. Don't get sideways. Oh, but he's too far back. Yeah, I don't think the Corvette is giving him the confidence under braking, you know, into some of these heavier braking zones.
Coming as well. There's Twilight catching up, I should say.
Yeah.
Continues to run there. Up and a wee bit on the curb and grass there. But yeah. That battle with Steve F1 brought Conrad.
3 wide. Oh, double pitter. Oh, he can't do it.
Yeah, that battle's just brought these all up behind Dave the Harper. Now he's going through the pressure as long as he can keep it together.
Oh, that he is. Oh, so 3 wide. Into the essence, they're not going to keep it 3 wide, surely. No, they're not. Twilight, interestingly, was the one that backed out of it there. Oh, Demon a bit too much curve there. Now he's out of shape. Twilight's going to come straight back past him. Oh, no, he's not. Demon is going to put him in the wall. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Twilight must be... Oh, he's away wide. He's
no.
That corner.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I think Demon Arch had been waiting for the hit with putting Twilight into the wall there. I don't know whether Twilight has said it's alright, keep going, because he's just had his own off, but yeah, considering what we saw Twilight have to do earlier, with a little bit of contact, yeah, Demon Art I think was being a bit of a bad boy there. We saw what he tried to do with Mitch last week, didn't quite work. Well, they both ended up off the track, but Rich having a sneaky little look. I tell you what, mate, this race has gone pretty quick. Dave the Arp still fending off Connor. Or not still fending off. He's gone from attacking Steve F1 to fending off Connor. Oh, Dave the Arp! Oh, bye. Oh, Bunsell! I think Bunsell just driven through him. Not a lot either of them could do there. But yeah, I mean, you were right with the battle between Steve and Dave. Really has closed things up, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've got what, 3 minutes to go?
Yep, 3 minutes to go, so 2, maybe 3 laps. Obviously, these races done on time, not amount of laps. And let's not forget as well, folks, that the result of this feature race will set the grid for the next event's sprint race, with positions 1 to 8 reversed. So at the moment, Bunsell is in 8th place. Rich has got a great opportunity to finish in 8th place, but I think he'd rather finish in the 5th place he's in at the moment, as Arp just tagged the wall. Oh, this has got really close again, hasn't it? Steve F1 under pressure from Dave the Arp. Conrad there to pounce as well.
Yeah, from Steve F1 down, it could be Andy's game.
Oh, Dave's trying to squeeze him. He's trying to squeeze him.
Oh, Dave's sliding around that. Oh,
tank slapper. Another tank slapper. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
look who was there.
Oh yeah, it's Twilight. So Dave was trying to go for an overtake on Steve F1. It didn't work, and it's ended up with Twilight being right on his gearbox with what, 2 minutes to go. So yeah, it is going to be it'll be this lap and one more, I reckon. Yeah, it will. I don't think we'll get another lap.
Remember, Twilight was at the back. We were talking about it. We had a minutes or so to go.
Not only that, Rich Blues is now in 8th place as well. So yeah, as
he's always in there.
Yeah. So SGP's leading the way, heading in towards turn 1 now. This will be the last lap of the race. So Dave the Harp is now under a lot of pressure. Where's Twilight gone? I think he's side by side with Conrad. Yes, he is. So Dave has got a bit of a breather. Conrad may have just gone a little bit wide. He's okay though. Twilight's still there.
Twilight doesn't want to take unnecessary risks.
You're absolutely right. I think if he did, he'd have stuck it up the inside of Conrad into that next corner. Conrad's gone a bit wide, may get compromised on the exit. Art Pal's got a run on them as well, so Dave the Hart may survive. His seat just got a little bit slippery. Conrad is well ahead of Twilight now. Twilight's going to have to be careful though, because he's got Demon R right behind him, but Demon R's got Art Pal and Ridge Blues right there as well. So Demon R's going to have to go defensive. Twilight can't attack. Dave the Arp's wobbling. This is crazy for the last lap of the race. Demon R's wobbling again. Art Pal making the move on him.
Yep, Conrad's right on the back of Dave the Harp as well. The side by side. Dave the Harp just up front going into the corner. Conrad go for the switchback.
That he is. Only 3 more. Oh, spinner! Demon R's going around. 3 more corners to go. Conrad's got ahead of Dave the Harp. So that'll come. Look who's right behind Dave the Harp now. It is Twilight. Twilight's actually attacking Dave the Harp into the final corner. SGP's rounded the final corner already. He's going to take the win below. Harp having a cheeky look on the inside of Dave the Harp. Is that going to compromise him? No, it's not. I don't think SGP's going to take the win. Steve F1, he's 2nd place. Is it Conrad 3rd? Yes. Who's 4th? It's Dave the Harp at the moment, and Twilight 5th with Art Pal and Bunsell 6th and 7th. Rich Blues Rich Blues isn't he in 8th? He's slow.
It's Demon R.
Yeah. I wonder. Oh, you know what? I bet Rich must have tagged the back of Demon R, which has sent him around at the hairpin, and Rich, fair play, doing the right thing there and letting Demon R through. Oh, that'd be so painful for Rich being in 8th place. You know what? I changed what I said earlier. The 2 most difficult aren't the most difficult, because now the most difficult weight is Rich Blues in 8th place and having to give it up.
Yeah, I bet he was like, yes, another one more than that, pal.
Oh yeah. I know a guy with a little dick that sounds like an owl. You had to say who, you knobhead. Exactly. If you got to think about that one, Ray, we need help. That's the joke I tried telling earlier that I couldn't for some reason. I couldn't say the words.
Should have stuck that way.
Yeah. Well, anyway, right. How was that one for you?
That was fantastic, especially the last lap and a half. That was fantastic racing all throughout. Few minor incidents, and that was a fantastic race to watch.
Yeah,
and commentate on.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not actionless. That's for certain. I mean, it was fascinating how much it swapped about in those last few laps. I mean, Conrad having to fight back through to end up in third place. Dave Hart was in position to take second place, and then all of a sudden he's being attacked. And not only that, he went, unfortunately for Dave, he went from potentially being in second place with Twilight at the back to all of a sudden he's now fourth, and Twilight was trying to attack him over the start finish line. So Dave has reeled in some points over Twilight, but I think overall it's only been about 3 points. I think probably the most interesting part of these events today is that SGP taking maximum points, that could have moved him a little bit in the standings, and potentially put him into quite an interesting position.
Yeah, see, I don't have the championship points next to me at the minute, so
yeah. Well,
but I'm sure he will be eating into somebody, or he's in a battle with somebody. So
yeah, well, he did.
Well, in a battle with the champions, don't he?
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, because I think he was in about fourth place or something like that beforehand. I don't know how close he would have been, because David Hart was about 21 points. SGP, I think, was about 30 odd points, but he has scored 36 points here today. So it'll be interesting to see when we have a look at that in a moment. Also, want to mention that obviously after this event, there's only now 2 events left. The sprint race at event 8, the feature race at event 8, and then sprint and feature race at event 9. And event 8, if I remember rightly, is from Lake Maggiore GP circuit. So a track that is a little bit similar to this one in that there is some high speed flowing corners, but there are more medium to slow speed corners, and there is the evil final hairpin and final corner. So a tricky track, but a very interesting one to see how everyone's going to get on there, especially with Demonar and Bunsell potentially being on the front row of the grid. Interestingly for David Harp and Twilight, they won't start in 7th and 8th this time. They're going to be... 1, 2, 3. They'll be 4th and 5th, so they've got a bit more of a chance of getting to the front early on. But they'll have Aston Martin, Jaguar, and Maserati to try and get past. And then the final race is from Blue Moon Infield A, which Ray has kind of almost become like sort of the DGT's second test track.
Yeah, it's a nice track, and it's got from high speed down to tight turns. It's got a double apex corner.
Yeah.
And it's got it's a weird kind of chicane. It's not a full chicane, it's like a left, and then it's still got a wee bit of a...
I thought you were going to say, it's like a left and a right, which is a chicane.
With an extra left kink in it before it turns right. So yeah, it's pretty nice track. I look forward to that race.
Yeah. Also with the big bump on entry into turn 1, I mean, do you enter it low down, miss the bump, or do you enter it high up, take the bump, but try and carry? It'll be interesting to see how people go about it. What I will say though is, Ray, we'll wrap this one up here. But let's not.
It's a bit late for that. 4 kids later.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, okay, hindsight's a wonderful thing and everything, but I mean, I've started telling everyone about the benefits of eating dried grapes. It's all about raising awareness. That was a good one, man. All right. Yeah. Rich will have liked that one, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So we'll wrap this one up. I just want to mention as well, though, that at some point the admins are going to have to confirm a name for the Group 4 Ferrari Championship that we're going to be doing. We've had a load of suggestions in from the drivers that were shown on last week's pre-race comments. So at some point I'm going to try and, I was going to say, tie down the admins and get an answer, but I don't really want to get anywhere near them. But we will try and find out what that'll be. I may even...
Italia.
No.
Get it up, please.
Get it, yeah. I may even try and tempt them into doing some kind of other announcement, but I don't know how that may go, so we'll have to wait and see. Right, Ray, thank you very much for joining us on commentary.
No worries at all, always a pleasure.
Aye. Right, let's have a look then at the confirmed race results and the championship standings. SGP then taking the feature race victory, 20 points for him. Steve F1 finished in second place, so it's 17 for him. Conrad in third, with Dave the Harp in fourth, and Twilight in fifth. Art Powell sixth in both races, finishes ahead of Bunsell in seventh place. Demon R in eighth, who gets that reverse grid pole, courtesy of Rich Blues doing the fair thing, and they're waiting for him after spinning Demon R at the hairpin. But Rich Blues will finish in ninth place on 8 points. So let's have a look then at what that has done to the championship standings. Twilight still leads the way now on 211 points. Second place is Dave the Harp on 192 points, so the gap has come down a little bit. In third place now, all on his own, is SGP on 186 points, so Dave the Harp is going to have to be careful because SGP is closing in on him. He's only 6 points behind him. Steve F1 is in fourth on 181 points, and then we've got a rather large gap back to Demon R in fifth place. Mitch, who was unable to race, stays he's now in sixth place on 132 points. Conrad in seventh has closed that gap, now on 129. Rich Blues is now definitely best of the rest, although actually no, sorry, Conrad is best of the rest. He's the first. Apart from the top two, he's the next one that hasn't got a championship. So Conrad best of the rest, but Rich Blues is the best of the rest, ahead of SRI by 1 point. So keep going, Rich. Art Powell in 10th place on 97 points. Hay in 11th on 72. Jason on 65. Jimmy on 62. Gary on 46, and Bunsell now to 35, with Fluffy and Tyler still yet to score. So let's take a look then at the provisional grid for Event 8's sprint race. Demon R Bunsell on row 1, Art Powell Twilight row 2, and Dave Harp and Conrad on row 3. Steve F1 and SGP on row 4, Rich Blues and Mitch row 5, SRI and Hay row 6, with Jason and Jimmy row 7, and then Formula Gary and Fluffy Planet row 8. Demon R getting the reverse grid pole there, so he'll be arguing with Rich about how many poles he's now got, but it is a great opportunity for the likes of Bunsell and Art Pal as well at the next event. And that event is going to be at the YAMAGIWA GP circuit. As we mentioned in commentary, it's a tricky one. Some high-speed sections, some flowing corners, and some awkward, tight little corners as well. But we are getting closer and closer to the end of this particular championship. The battle still on between Twilight and Dave the Harp, with SGP sneaking close as well. So Twilight and Dave are really going to need to make sure they keep focus on what is coming ahead, because if they don't, they may get caught from behind. Right, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Hope you like and subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and apologies if the commentary wasn't as good as it normally is. I really am feeling terrible, so I've done the best that I can. So any errors, blame it on the boogie. I don't know why that came into my head, but it did. Anyway, have a good one everybody, and we'll see you all again soon.